Welcome to the Social Blueprint Podcast, where society meets culture and culture drives business. So, whether you are a thinker, a creator, or a doer, stay with us to uncover the stories that are influencing the world we live in right here on the Social Blueprint Podcast. Welcome back to the Social Blueprint Podcast. I'm Captain Carlos, and today we are diving into a topic every business owner needs to master. This is cash flow management, navigating business crises, and dealing with business stress. There are three pillars that can determine whether your business thrives or barely survives. Now, before we get into the details, I want you to think of a moment. Have you ever had a month where you were waiting for payment to come in, but the bills just won't, or maybe you have faced a crisis that made you feel like everything could fall apart in a moment? It happens to all of us. That's why we are going to break it down, and most importantly, learn how to stay calm and in control when things get tough. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Have you had challenges managing cash flow or handling stress in your business? If you've experienced the same, drop us a message on the comment section on our email and share some of those stories so that we can help and navigate through them successfully and advise where need be. So, what is a cash flow? What is a cash flow? That's the main question. A cash flow is the money moving in and out of your business. It's not just about having cash, but about having it when you need it. Think of cash flow as the fuel that keeps your business engine running smoothly. Let's say for example, I will give a real time example. Take the case of Tesla, which struggled with cash flow issues even while becoming one of the world's most valuable companies. At one point, Elon Musk admitted that Tesla was just weeks away from running out of money. The lesson here is that even businesses that seem successful on the outside can be at risk if they don't manage the cash flow properly. So we are going to check on the common cash flow pitfalls, the common cash flow mistakes that entrepreneurs and business people get into. Or one common cash flow pitfall is late invoicing. Late invoicing goes with delaying invoicing can slow down your incoming cash. Businesses that don't have a system in place to follow up on late payments often find themselves running out of money very quickly. Then we have the high overheads. Many businesses overspend on things they don't need. Too much office space, unnecessary subscriptions. These are common traps. At some point, we call them the sunk cost. A business spending on the cost that they don't really need, or on a cost that they can really do without. For example, many small businesses fall into overhead trap. WeWork, the shared office space company. WeWork, it's an office space company, expanded too quickly, signing long-term leases for spaces they couldn't fill. It led to a massive cash flow problem and eventually their near collapse. We're also going to check on the tips of managing cash flow. What are some of the tips that you can manage a good cash flow for our businesses? We have set up a solid invoicing system. Make invoicing a priority. You can use tools like QuickBooks and FreshBooks can help you automate invoicing and payments reminders. Then we have cash flow forecasting. A cash flow forecasting helps you to predict your income and expenses over time. It's crucial to identify upcoming shortfalls before they happen. Then we have negotiate better payment terms, negotiate longer payment terms with suppliers and shorter ones with customers. It gives you a caution and more flexibility. For example, I have a friend of mine. He runs a marketing agency. So they were constantly struggling with clients paying late. So they implemented a rule of 50% upfront and 50% upon completion. Not only did it improve the cash flow, but it also filtered out clients who aren't serious about paying. Yeah, so that segment about cash flow, it's very, very important to every business because it's the fuel that runs the business. So as a business person, as an entrepreneur, always take keen and very precautious measures on the cash flow. Upon exhausting all that on the cash flow management, our segment two, we're going to look at crisis management. We're going to understand crisis, how crisis can happen in our businesses, and how we can manage crisis. Crisis management isn't just about firefighting, it's about being prepared for the unexpected. A crisis could be anything from a sudden market shift, a supplier going under, or even a public relations disaster. For example, let's talk about the COVID-19. The pandemic threw businesses around the world into a crisis mode. Companies like Zoom thrived, but others like restaurants and travel agencies had to pivot quickly. Many that were unprepared folded and they folded under the pressure. So we are going to identify different potential crises that can befell our businesses out there, and we have financial crisis. This involves cash flow problems, running out of capital, or sudden drop in sales. We also have the operational crisis. These are key processes breaking down, like IT failures or supply chain disruptions. Then we have reputational crisis, when public perception of your brand is at risk. Think of the recent backlash against major brands like Bud Light, which faced a PR crisis over controversial campaigns. Then we're going to look on how to manage a crisis when you fall into that kind of a pit with your business. You've run into financial crisis, you've run into operational crisis, you've run into reputational crisis. How are you going to manage? How are you going to get over it as a business? Number one, calmly assess the situation. The first step is not to panic. Don't panic. Just stay calm and look at the crisis objectively and gather the facts. Form a crisis management team. Look for a very reliable team, people you can count on. Designate a small trusted team to handle the situation. In a crisis, whenever you handling a crisis with your team, the communication is key. Don't try to manage everything yourself. Develop a clear response plan. This could involve temporarily reducing services, negotiating with suppliers, or communicating transparently with your customers. As a business person, you should communicate transparently to your clients in a crisis, whether it's financial or operational. Keep stakeholders informed. This can prevent a small crisis from turning into a disaster. Okay, for in a real-time example, we are going to look at the Southwest Airlines. When the Southwest Airlines IT system crashed during the holiday travel in 2022, thousands of flights were cancelled, leaving passengers stranded. Their failure to communicate effectively worsened the situation, and it turned into a PR nightmare. A good crisis communication plan would have softened the whole blow. So as we can see, compared to that example, is that when we are handling crisis, it's good to be transparent. It's good to be honest as a business to the stakeholders, to the clients, suppliers, so that the small crisis does not blow and become a disaster. Yeah. So that's all about we're going to cover today about crisis management. And on our third and last segment, we're going to look at stress management for entrepreneurs. This is a very sensitive segment because, again, it deals with our psychology as entrepreneurs, and we need to be calm. We need to be in the best state of mind to do and carry out business operations. So the reality of entrepreneurial stress are often the last to clock out. Balancing finances, operations, and personal life is a constant juggling act, but unchecked stress can lead to burnout, poor decisions, and even health problems. For example, Ariana Huffington, the founder of Huffington Post, famously collapsed from exhaustion and sleep deprivation She now advocates for work-life balance and the importance of managing stress before it spirals out of control. That's a very good example about entrepreneurial journey, juggling between work, finances, operations, and personal life. We all need to get some rest at some point, as much as we're giving our businesses our all. It's very important to get time and get pretty rest to rethink and come up with quality and device decisions. Okay, how do you recognize signs of stress as an entrepreneur? We have two categories of signs of stress. Number one, we have the physical symptoms. Number one, we have trouble sleeping. You get to bed, but you struggle. You struggle to fall asleep. You struggle to get the sleep ready. Then you have headaches. You have constant headaches. Whenever you try to relax and chill, you feel a headache. It comes from nowhere, but it truly just gets on you. Then we have anxiety attacks. So those are the physical symptoms of signs of stress. Then we have the mental symptoms of stress. You feel overwhelmed by everything. You try to think clearly, but you feel like everything is overwhelming. Then we have you get easily irritated by anything. A client comes, you listen a bit, but if he doesn't go your way, you get irritated. Then there's a lack of focus, which is very common to stress. So when you are stressed, you lose focus, you lose the direction where you should be taking the business. So we have strategies to manage stress as an entrepreneur and as a business person. You have to prioritize your tasks. Know that not everything is urgent. Learn to distinguish between urgent and important tasks. Then number two, on stress management, we have delegate. Entrepreneurs often feel like they need to do everything themselves, and delegating tasks not only reduces stress but also empowers your team. So you should always learn to delegate tasks and know, as much as we are driven and we need to achieve, we also need to work with a team behind us. Then you have to exercise and eat balanced diet. Physical activity releases endorphins, which combat stress. Make time for regular exercise, even if it's just a quick walk. Then we have mindfulness and meditation. Take 5 to 10 minutes of a day in your day to meditate. Meditate you can have profound impact on your ability to stay calm and focused. For example, Bill Gates is known for taking think weeks where he can retreat and into the wilderness to disconnect and reflect on the future of his business. This practice helps you manage stress and come back with fresh and renewed and revised ideas. Then we have work-life balance. You find time to disconnect from work because studies show that entrepreneurs who schedule downtime are more productive and creative in the long run. For example, look at Jeff Bezos. Even at the height of building Amazon, he was known to make time for sleep, exercise, and family. He credits this work-life balance for his decision ability. So, as an entrepreneur, as much as we are working, as much as we are setting the pace, as much as we want to achieve, let's learn to create a work-life balance. Let's learn to take rest, to eat a balanced diet, to exercise, to take breaks. Let's learn what's important and what's urgent. So that will conclude our session for today. So there you have it. Managing cash flow, being prepared for crisis, and taking care of your mental health are critical to not just surviving but thriving as an entrepreneur. Remember, the cash flow keeps your business alive. Crisis management keeps you prepared, and stress management keeps you sane. But the most important thing is to act. If you had if you had something today that resonated with you, I challenge you to implement just one of these strategies this week. And don't forget, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What's the biggest challenge you're facing in your business right now? You can comment you can leave a comment, or you can send us an email. We are all in this together. And thank you so much. And this the structures offers real life examples. We've used real life examples on the podcast that will help you think deeply and engage yourself as you carry out your daily entrepreneurial practices or activities. Thank you, and join us on our next episode. May you have a good time as implementing whatever we have learned today.